In the Hebrew Bible and the New Testament, Satan is primarily an accuser and adversary, a decidedly malevolent entity, also called the devil, who possesses demonic qualities. He is called the adversary due to the fact that he is anti-everything, working through lies to drag humanity back into darkness and disorder. Satan was God's personal arbiter for the afterlife to check if man was worthy of the Millennium Kingdom, and even when he fell, he was still allowed limited access to heaven. He is known for bringing deception and temptation, and is known as the deceiver who leads humanity astray. Satan is even able to take control of the life of a person in the stead of God, though only to an extent to what God allows. He is a malevolent force that works behind the scenes, animating division and hatred between humans. He was Lucifer's trump card during the Civil War in heaven, and his greatest asset during the starting phases of the apocalypse, prophesied as the Great Red Dragon that will destroy the earth. In the Old Testament, a being who is addressed as the Satan is shown to be an angelic member of God's court that requests permission from the Almighty to torment Job in order to test his faithfulness towards God, to which the latter allows. The Satan is described as the heavenly accuser and one that decidedly punishes humans that show doubt in their faith towards God, especially if those humans were chosen by God in the first place. The Satan in the Old Testament is a possible tie-in to the Satan of the New Testament. Since the 9th century, Satan has sometimes been shown with horns, cloven hooves, hairy legs, and a tail, often naked and holding a pitchfork, an amalgam of traits derived from various pagan deities, including Pan, Poseidon, and Bes, though he is fully able to completely alter his physical appearance. Biblical authors also use a variety of images to describe Satan as well, such as a snake, a sea dragon, a dark creature of the desert such as a scorpion, or a king of death in the grave. He is also capable of shape-shifting into such creatures, evident in when he approached Jesus during his 40 days of fasting in the form of a snake, a lion, and even a pillar of fire. Satan's true form, at least one that allows the material plane to encompass it wholly without being torn at the seams, is shown to be absolutely titanic and is akin to that of a mountain that wades in the sea. His head goes above the clouds, his hands could be mistaken for islands, and is clad with ice and crowned with smoke and fire. According to Jesus, he states during his encounter with Satan that the light of the eyes of the devil was like a flame that withers with heat and pierces with a deadly cold. In his more humanoid form, Satan has pale white skin and numerous veins appearing in his face and body. His hair is black, just like the dark aura that surrounds him, and the globe of his eyes are also black, but the iris is a light yellow. He is much taller than Lucifer, capable of towering over his enemies, and his build is more muscular and larger in proportion compared to Lucifer's more lean body. His hands and forearms are now covered in what appears to be black matter, possibly sulfur. His upper body part is completely exposed, excluding the lower part that is clad in an exoskeleton that is made up of what seems to be thick metallic plates resembling feathers, and the feet are equipped with sharp talons. Before his fall, Satan was also a cherubim and a prince of the choir, showing his status as the supreme cherub as Lucifer is over the seraphim. This would explain why he is sometimes depicted as having 3 heads in his imprisonment, showing that after his fall, his appearance as a cherubim became highly twisted and corrupted. Satan was then known as Samael, a mighty and great angel who was created by God and Asherah, right after the first 5 archangels. Other archangels were created after him as well, with the first among them being Azrael himself, the archangel of death. Samael came into being sometime during the creation of the universe, though the latter was still in somewhat disarray due to the chaos inflicted by the warring factions between the light and the dark. Thus, Samael was tasked by God to repair the discord that was wrought by the darkness. Among this repairing was him banishing the prime evils as they lay dormant within what remains of the abyss. He and the Almighty removed the abyss and its inhabitants from God's space of creation, placing it well below the realm which borders the light itself. Samael was given a great hammer by God, used to mend the broken infrastructure of the universe. With each swing, he unleashed a great wave of power that reverberated across reality, affecting that which was broken and properly restoring them to their original form, which was then given a purpose by the 5 archangels. Sparks emitted from his strikes, with these then taken by Lucifer, pouring his light-bringer power within them, then scattering them across the illuminating space to create the stars. On top of that, he also found collaboration with Lucifer and Uriel, often during times where they helped each other craft material suns and spiritual suns, the latter of which would become a lit pathway to where heaven shall be. After the universe's full and proper restoration, Samael was then tasked by his mother, Asherah, to accompany his siblings in the search for any remaining Ogdru-hem that managed to flee from their wrath. Samael encountered several and disposed of them with violent efficiency, becoming a venomous sting to the forces of darkness, crippling them before they are thoroughly destroyed by Michael. Among the most prominent during his mission was slaying Luk-Thu, the birth womb of the Old Ones, who attempted to escape through a singularity before Samael unleashed a mighty swing of his hammer upon Luk-Thu, smashing it against the surface of the singularity. The impact created a reaction which made the singularity collapse unto the outer god and completely destroy it. When more angels were created and the threat of the Ogdru-hem vanquished, Samael reigned over the angels that came before him, which includes the lesser archangels. Samael's impact into the abyss was so powerful and great that the implosion upon contact drastically shifted the landscape of the abyss into what would later be called Hell. Samael's collision with the abyss was also said to be the greatest out of all the falls and corresponds with Samael's once enormous beauty and power during his days in heaven. His fall created a gargantuan crater and hole that would be called the Circle of Treachery. He was the second to awaken to Lucifer's call when the morning star summoned his fallen brethren after their own respective falls from paradise, although in Samael's case he had to climb the unfashioned darkness, and the furious flapping of his wings to maintain his momentum created powerful gusts of wind that soon cooled off the fiery impact crater, which would become the icy winds of the Ninth Circle. Upon emerging from the crater, Samael abandoned his angelic name and went by the title of Satan, which means adversary. He emerged as a new being, and one that would be against all that God has created, which he perceives as lies. He chose the title of Satan as a declaration that he will be the ultimate enemy of mankind, their accuser. He was able to meet up with his 2 prominent cohorts and brothers, Beelzebub and Lucifer. Beelzebub advised Lucifer on striking back against God, not physically but spiritually and emotionally. In agreement with this, Lucifer proposed that Satan should also prove, through the use of this plan, to God that his greatest creation is not as great as he proclaims to his angels. However, before he could conquer this new hell, he was also met with resistance in the form of the 3 great evils, also known as the prime evils, ancient demonic beings that sprang forth from the abyss and awakened upon the full birth of the universe. Satan, alongside Lucifer and Beelzebub, fought the prime evils, with Satan personally battling Torbalos, the second of the evils. He defeated the Lord of Destruction and banished him and his 2 brothers out beyond Hell's borders and further into the depths of Tartarus. With the evils out of the way, he and his fallen brothers conquered Hell alongside the original princes of Hell and made it his domain. Since conquering Hell, he not only rules over the fallen angels, but also the demons that were native to the abyss. He and Lucifer soon commissioned a grand and glorious palace known as Pandemonium to be built within the center of Hell.